You've seen them on stage, and you've probably thought that ballet dancers are just born with some kind of superhuman flexibility, that they won the genetic lottery, giving them the ability to fold in half and float their legs towards the sky. But what if I told you that that has to do less with genetics and more to do with science? What if the incredible flexibility of a professional ballerina isn't a gift, but a skill that is carefully built, scientifically trained, and most importantly, something you can learn too? In the next few minutes, we're going to bust that myth wide open. I'll tell you the training secrets based on science that allow dancers to build their amazing range of motion. And I'm going to reveal how you can use these exact same principles to improve your own flexibility, no matter your age or where you're starting from. This isn't about forcing your body into painful positions. It's about learning to work with your body intelligently. All right, now, how do ballet dancers get so flexible? Before we get into the how-to, we have to understand what flexibility actually is. Most people think it means how far you can stretch, like getting into a flat split. But scientifically, flexibility is your available range of motion at a joint. To understand it, we have to look at three things: your joint structure, your muscles, and your nervous system. Because flexibility isn't just about length, it's about permission. Your body has to allow you to go into that range. First, your joint structure. Every joint in your body is shaped differently. For example, your hip joint is a ball and socket joint, allowing for a lot of movement. But the exact shape of your bones influences how much range you can access. Two dancers can train the exact same way and have different results because their anatomy is different. So right away, we have to accept that flexibility is partially structural. Next, we have the muscles and connective tissues. When you feel tight, it's your muscles resisting being lengthened. When you stretch, you aren't dramatically lengthening the muscle permanently. Instead, you're improving its ability to tolerate being in a stretched position. Flexibility is about tissue tolerance. With consistent stretching, your muscles and tissues become more adaptable and offer less resistance. But perhaps the most important piece is the one most people miss. Your nervous system is the real gatekeeper. Inside your muscles, you have sensors called muscle spindles that detect stretch. If they sense a muscle is stretching too far or too fast, they trigger a reflex to contract and protect it. That pulling sensation is your nervous system saying, hold on, this might not be safe. So when a dancer becomes more flexible, what's really happening is their nervous system is becoming more comfortable with those positions. It starts to say, okay, we've been here before, this is safe. We can allow more range. This is why consistency matters so much more than intensity. So why do ballet dancers appear so uniquely flexible? It's because ballet trains dynamic flexibility. Static flexibility is what most people think of, holding a stretch, like sitting in a split. Dynamic flexibility is your ability to move through a range of motion with control, like lifting your leg in a grand battement. Ballet, at its heart, demands dynamic flexibility. There's no one on stage with you holding your leg up in an arabesque. You need the muscular strength to not only lift your leg, but to hold it there with complete control. So this is the key. Ballet doesn't just ask, can you get into that position? It asks, can you control it? Strength and flexibility aren't two separate things. They're two sides of the same coin. Flexibility without strength is just instability. Think of a skyscraper. The flexibility is the height, but the strength is the steel frame that keeps it from falling. Without a strong core, your leg extensions will be wobbly. Without strong glutes, your turnout will be unstable. Dancers don't just have long muscles, they have smart muscles, trained through a perfect marriage of strength and control. They've taught their nervous system that a deep range of motion is not only accessible, but also safe, strong, and controllable. All right, now let's go from the why to the how. And the very first rule, the unbreakable cardinal rule of all flexibility training is this: never ever stretch a cold body. Think of your muscles like a piece of taffy. If you try to stretch it right out of the fridge, it's brittle and it'll snap. but warm it up and it becomes soft and stretchy. Stretching cold is not only useless, it's basically asking for an injury. So your warm-up is non-negotiable. It's not about dropping into a split. It's about raising your body temperature and getting blood flow to the tissues. A good routine starts with a few minutes of light cardio, like marching in place or light jogging, to generate some heat. After that, you move into dynamic or moving stretches. These aren't stretches you hold. They are gentle, repetitive movements that take your joints through their range of motion. Think of smooth, pendulum-like leg swings, forward and back and side to side to mobilize the hip joints. You could also include torso twists to wake up the spine and big arm circles to get the shoulder blades gliding. Throughout all of this, the key is to breathe and keep the movement fluid, not forced. Only then is your body warm, awake, and ready to work. And once your body is warm, that's when you can move into your more traditional static stretches, the ones you actually hold. For ballet dancers, a good stretching routine should focus on the areas that need both mobility and control: the hips, hamstrings, calves, hip flexors, and upper back. And here's something really important that a lot of people overlook. Flexibility gains don't usually come from rushing through stretches for 5 or 10 seconds. Research suggests that stretches generally need to be held for about 30 seconds to create meaningful changes in range of motion over time. So instead of forcing yourself deeper into a position, think about settling into the stretch, breathing, and allowing the body to gradually relax. And remember, a good ballet stretching routine is not about trying to achieve the most extreme flexibility possible. It should be individualized to your body, your goals, and your current level of mobility. Some dancers may need more focus on hip mobility, while others may need ankle flexibility or thoracic spine mobility for port de bras. The goal is balanced flexibility that supports healthy technique, stability, and movement quality, not just impressive oversplits for social media. So this is the path to real, lasting progress. But I want to be real about expectations, especially for adults. Your body has a different history than a 10-year-old's. Years of sitting, driving, and living mean your progress might be slower, but it absolutely does not mean it's impossible. With consistent practice of smart stretching, you will see change. In 2 or 3 months, your plie might feel deeper. In 6 to 12 months, that progress can be huge. Okay, now let's address the elephant in the room, the splits. They are not the measure of a dancer. Your ability to get a flat split is partially determined by your unique anatomy, particularly the shape of the bones in your hip socket. Some people's bodies simply will not allow for a flat split, no matter how much they stretch. And that is 100% okay. Flexibility is not the goal, function is. The active flexibility you build in your hamstrings and hip flexors while working toward a split is what will actually transform your dancing. So focus on consistency over intensity. 15 minutes of mindful stretching every other day is far more effective than one brutal 2-hour session on a Sunday. And listen to your body. There's a huge difference between the discomfort of a good stretch and the sharp pain of an injury. Never push into sharp pain. All right, let's recap the golden rules of flexibility for ballet. 1. Your warm-up is non-negotiable. Always prepare your body and mind. 2. Your goal is dynamic flexibility, the strength to control your range of motion. 3. Strength is your partner. Flexibility without it leads to instability. 4. Consistency beats intensity. A little bit, often, teaches your nervous system to adapt. 5. Listen to your body. Learn the difference between productive discomfort and damaging pain. And 6, don't compare your journey. Your body's structure is unique and your progress is your own. Flexibility isn't a gift you're born with. It's an adaptation. It's your body responding over time to the movements you ask it to do. It's a conversation you have to have with your body based on science, strength, and patience. You now have the tools and the knowledge to start building your own functional, beautiful flexibility in a way that is safe, effective, and empowering. And if there is a certain stretch you'd like to know more about, let me know in the comments so we can do a deeper dive. Thank you again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Ballet Science podcast.